Hey fam, as promised, I'm going to take you through a tutorial today on how to set up the PlayAI Oasis node on a VPS. So I tested out this myself and my node activity is currently 100%. I'm accruing some daily rewards and my node status is also live, which indicates that the setup process was successful. In order to be able to set up the PlayAI Oasis node, the prerequisite is that you do have an Oasis node NFT. If you do not have an Oasis node NFT, I'm going to provide a link, depending on the time that you're watching this video, in the description section to be able to purchase one through my referral link. And as always, I'm going to provide a Medium post detailed out with all the commands that you're going to need to set up the node so that you do not have to type this yourself when you're setting this up. Now, what I also want to mention here is that if the node setup is too complicated for you on the VPS or on your PC, there are also other options where you can delegate the node operation to a NAS provider like NodeOps, and NodeOps is quite reliable. I'm also part of the team, and here's where I'm going to provide you a discount code DEPEND that you can apply when you are setting up your node with NodeOps. And also the PlayAI team actually provided a very detailed guide on how to set up the node. Mine would just be an expansion of what the official docs already provided. So now, before we start up with the setup, the first thing is to check what the hardware requirements to set up the nodes are going to be. So in terms of a memory, you're going to need 4 GB of RAM and you're going to need 20 GB of disk storage. Now when you look at the specifications, you see that the node is a pretty light node, so you should not pay too much for the VPS subscription costs. So I had a look at most of the VPS service providers out there. The most affordable in terms of price and hardware specifications that you're going to get is Contabo. So I've been using Contabo for some time now. I've never had a downtime with my VPS, and this is why I typically suggest Contabo as the VPS provider. So they do have a lot of VPS subscriptions available. With respect to the node that we're going to set up, the Cloud VPS 0 is going to be the best option in terms of price. Now here you're going to get 2 CPU cores, 4 GB of RAM, 100 GB of SSD, which is more than sufficient to set up the node. You could go with a higher subscription, but it makes no sense, especially if you only want to set the PlayAI node on the VPS. Now if you do have a very powerful VPS as well, probably you have the Cloud VPS 2, 3, 4, whatever you have, you could also save some VPS subscription costs by running multiple nodes on the same VPS. And here, just be sure that you know how to do this so that you do not have these nodes conflicting with each other. Now, if you want to purchase a subscription using Contabo, I'm going to provide my referral link in the description section. I'll be extremely happy if you sign up using my referral link, because this goes as well to give me a kickback to support my channel to be able to come up with tutorials like this for you. So when you click on my referral link, it's technically going to bring you to this page here. Now, what you're going to make sure is that you are having the Cloud VPS 0. Of course, this is only if you only want to run the PlayAI node on the VPS. Now in terms of the duration that you want to run the VPS, my recommendation is that if you are not very confident that you would be able to set up the node on the VPS, or if the VPS is the way to go, always go with a lower subscription. So you can go with 1 month. If it works out, this would be automatically renewed every month. If you are pretty sure that you want to go with a VPS option, you could go for a longer subscription and also save some costs. But as I mentioned, if you're not very sure this is the way for you to go, you can set up the node with a 1 month subscription. Now in terms of a region, typically you have to pay extra if you want to use any other region apart from European Union. I do not know the time that you're going to watch this video, but my recommendation is just to go with European Union. What this means is that this VPS is going to be set up in Germany, but this has actually no issues in terms of how the VPS is going to work. Now when you scroll down in terms of a storage type, my recommendation would be to go with 100 GB SSD, because if you remember the specifications, we need 20 GB of disk space, so the 100 GB is going to be more than sufficient. You could also go with the 50 GB NVMe, but I don't think you need this. We do not need that super high read-write speed for the node that we want to set up. So just go with 100 GB SSD, because additionally you get way more space. Now when you scroll down in terms of the image, this is where you choose the operating system that you want to get installed on the VPS. My recommendation would be to go with Ubuntu, and then here go with Ubuntu 22.04. Now when you scroll down, these are the credentials that you're going to need to log in to your VPS server. With Contabo, the username is always going to be root, and then here the password, just put in any password that you want to use to connect to the VPS server. Now it's very important that you remember this password, because if you lose the password, you technically won't be able to connect to the VPS server. Now beyond this point, for steps 6, 7, 8, do not select anything. Leave everything as a default. Go to the next page, make the payment, and then we're going to continue with the setup. Now after you make the payments, within a few minutes, sometimes hours, you would get an email like this from Contabo. Mine is in German, but the layout is technically going to be the same irrespective of which country that you are. Now from the email that you're going to receive from Contabo, we're technically going to need only two things. The first one that you're going to need is the IP address of your VPS server, and the second thing that you're going to need is the username. So the username with Contabo is always going to be root, and then here you're just going to get the IP address of your VPS server, and then here they basically tell you what type of VPS server that you purchased, the location that your VPS server is, and then for respect to the password, like I said, they're not going to provide the password to you by email. So to reiterate, the only thing that we're going to need from the email that we're going to get from Contabo is the IP address and the username that is always going to be root. Now in terms of connecting to the VPS server, there are several applications out there that you can use. You can use PuTTY, you can use Windows PowerShell, you can use Terminal, you can use Bitwise, you can use Temios or stuff like that. So all these applications are out there for you to be able to connect to your VPS server. I'm going to show you how you can connect to the VPS server, for instance, using PuTTY, which is an application that you have to download and install. And if you do not want to download any application, I'm also going to teach you an application that you can use, which is inbuilt into your operating system, whether you're using a Mac operating system or a Windows operating system. So if you want to use PuTTY, just come here, click PuTTY download. I'm going to provide a link to this page in the description section. Now on this page, all you have to do is to select whichever application you want to download, depending on your processor type. So if you're using, for instance, 64-bit processor, x86, just click on this. This will download the file and then you install the file. If you're using Mac operating system, unfortunately PuTTY is not compatible with Mac operating system, but there are also other applications that you can use that is already inbuilt into your Mac operating system, which is called the Terminal. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate the process to you on how you can connect to the VPS server using PuTTY, and also how you can do this using the inbuilt Microsoft application, which is already coming with your Windows operating system. So once you install the PuTTY application, that's how it looks. To connect to the VPS server, all you need to do is to come under the option here, which is called hostname, put in root, and then put in the IP address of your VPS server. Now when you do the two, you can leave the ports the same. You can leave everything as it is as default, and then just click open. Now if this is the first time you're connecting to the VPS server, PuTTY is going to warn you if you are sure you want to do the connection. If you're pretty sure you are connecting to the right IP address, just click on accept, and then you're going to be prompted to put the password of your VPS server. Now with PuTTY or with most of the applications, when you're typing in the password, you're not going to see the password. So if you're not sure you're going to type the password correctly, just type the password somewhere in the text editor, copy the password, come into the PuTTY application, right click in the application. When you right click in the application, it technically pastes whatever you have in the clipboard, then just press enter. So now you see that I'm connected to the Contabo VPS. Now what I'm going to teach you is I'm going to now teach you how you can use the inbuilt Windows application. Now just come to your start menu and look for an application that is called Windows PowerShell. So this is how the Windows PowerShell application looks. To connect to the VPS server with Windows PowerShell, you're going to need a bit more commands than we needed in PuTTY. Now with Windows PowerShell, just type SSH space root @ and then put in the IP address of your VPS server, and after that just press enter. Now in here as well, if this is the first time you are connecting to the VPS server, it's going to ask you if you are sure you want to connect to it. If you're pretty sure you're connecting to the right server, just type in yes to add the fingerprint and then press enter. Now in the next stage, what you're going to have to do is to put in the password of the VPS server, just like we did with the PuTTY application. So here as well in PowerShell, to paste whatever you have in the clipboard, just right click in the console and then press enter. And as you can see here, I'm also connected to the VPS server using the Windows inbuilt application. So whether you want to use PuTTY, whether you want to use Windows PowerShell, or if you're using a Mac operating system, you can also use an application that is called Terminal, which is also built into the Mac operating system. With Terminal, you're going to need the same command that we used here in the Windows PowerShell, and you would be able to connect to the VPS server. Now for the rest of the setup, I'm going to go with the PuTTY application because this is just one of the favorite applications that I like to use. So now we're going to start with the installation of the node. Now I'm going to skip through the first sections here because we have set up the VPS server already. So now we can start directly with installing the node. Now the first thing that we're going to need is to first update the Ubuntu operating system. Now to do so, just come here, copy this command here, come into the console. So like I said in PuTTY, whenever you right click in the console, it pastes whatever you have in the clipboard, then just press enter. So now the updates are performed. The next thing that we're going to do is to install Git, Docker, and Docker Compose. So the PlayAI nodes runs as a Docker. So before you can do the installation, you need to install Git, Docker, and Docker Compose. Just copy this command that I have here, come into the console, paste the command and just press enter. So now all the applications are installed. The next thing that we're going to do is in step 2, clone the PlayAI client repository. Now to do so, just copy this command that we have here, come into the console, paste in the command, and then just press enter. So now you can see that this was successful. Counting objects was 100%, everything is done, so that means that the download was successful. It's a pretty light file, so it shouldn't take that long to download. Now the next thing that we're going to do is to use this command to change into a folder that is called PlayAI Node Client. So after you run this command, this Node software is going to be downloaded in a folder which is called PlayAI Node Client. So for instance, if you type ls here in the console, you do see that I have a folder that is called PlayAI Node Client. So to change into this folder, just use the command cd. Cd means change directory. Paste in this command and then press enter, and then you can see that now we moved from this path here to the path with the PlayAI Node Client. Now the next stage that we're going to do, I'll plead for your attention. To set up the node, my recommendation would be to use a burner wallet address to configure the node, and then with this burner address you connect the node to the PlayAI backend or to the Node Explorer or to your NFT. Now what we're going to do now is in the next stages we're going to create an env file that you're going to see here. The components that we're going to need to fill into this .env file are node wallet address, which is going to be the wallet address of the burner wallet address that we're going to create, the node signer key, which is going to be the private key of the burner address. That's why I don't recommend that you use your NFT containing wallet, but just use a burner wallet address. This will also work as well. And the node token ID, I'm also going to show you how you can get this. Now to generate a random burner wallet address, just click on the link here, which is going to bring you to the chain to generate some random address. Now here, when you come here, just choose by random, everything as it is by default, mnemonic seed phrase 12, and then just click on create. Now what is going to create for you is going to create a random burner wallet address for you with the seed phrase to the wallet and the private key. What you can do is to click on download here to save the file as an Excel file. What we're going to need here is, like I said, we're going to need only the wallet address in terms of configuring the PlayAI node and the private key to that wallet. So now we have our burner wallet address ready, the private key also ready. We're going to come back to the Oasis node setup. We're going to scroll down, so basically skip through to the section 4, and then here we're going to create the .env file. Now to create the file, just copy this command here, nano.env. This means that nano is just a text editor that we're going to use to edit .env file. I'm going to come into the console, I'm going to right click, I'm going to press enter. Now what you can see is that an empty space is created for us. Now here what you have to do is to copy this is what we're going to paste into the space that we have here. So my recommendation would be to just edit this somewhere before you paste it into the text editor in the console. So just copy this one here, and I'm going to paste this in Notepad. You can also directly paste it in the console, but in the console it's not so easy to click and change things. That's why my recommendation would be to just paste it into Notepad, and then after that you can copy it from Notepad into the console. Now what we're going to need is we're going to go to chain 2, and we're going to copy the wallet address here. So here what we're copying is wallet, so just click on copy, and we're going to replace everything after the equal to sign, and then you're going to paste in the wallet address. Very important, make sure that the quotations that you have before are not there. So we just have to remove everything after the equal to sign. Now for the node signer key, this is going to be the private key of the wallet, and here it's a bit tricky. Also here, copy everything after the equal to sign, paste in the private key, and then please pay attention here, remove the first 2 letters here. So 0 and X we're going to remove. So just come here, click on this section here between 0 and X, and just remove the 0 and X. Very important, the prefix 0 and X would have to be removed. Now the next thing that we're going to have to do is to put in your NFT ID. How do you find your NFT ID? When you come to the Node Explorer, just come to login, and then login connecting to your wallet that contains your NFT, and I'm going to connect to the wallet that contains my NFT. So after I connected my wallet, just come to my keys, and then when you scroll down on the page, you're going to see the key ID. So this key ID is going to be what the ID of your NFT is going to be, and this is the number that we're going to need in this space here. So I'm just going to copy this one here, and then here you do need the square bracket, so don't delete the square bracket, just put in the number in between the square brackets. Now after you have done that, technically we're good to go at this end. Just copy whatever that we put in the node editor or in the notepad where the replaced node ID key, private key, and wallet address, come into the nano text editor and then paste in whatever that we edited in notepad. Now after you have done this, you can just type Ctrl X. So like you can see here, when you type Ctrl X, it basically tries to exit the nano editor. But because we have made some changes to the file, that's why you also see this asterisk here. It's going to ask you if you want to save the changes, and we do want to save the changes. Now what we're going to do here, so just press Ctrl X, and as you can see down here, it asks you, do you want to save the modified buffer? So here just type Y for yes, and then it's going to ask you again if you want to write to this file here. So to do so, just press enter to confirm that you want to write onto that file. So technically from the nano.m file, we are done. The next thing that we're going to do is to pull the latest container images. Now to do so, just use the docker compose pull command. Come here, paste in this command, and then just press enter. So here what is going to happen is that it's going to download the latest image, it's going to extract the files, and then we're going to be good to go. So as you can see here, we have all the 3 sections: touch, serve, post-processing, and play node, all green and done. So that means that technically this was successful. Now the next thing that we're going to do is to delegate our NFT to this node. Now to do so, come to the PlayAI node explorer. So when you come here, like I said, connect your wallet, come to the my key section here, and then when you scroll down, you see that currently my NFT status is inactive because I haven't connected this NFT to any node. Now to connect this NFT to the node that we just set up, I'm just going to click on delegate. If you do have several keys or several NFTs all to the node or to your wallet, just click on the bulk delegate, and this would bulk delegate all the keys that are currently in your wallet to the node. But like I said, because I do have only one of this, I'm just going to click on delegate, and then here you're going to put in the wallet address, which is going to be the burner wallet address that we also configured into the .m file. So I'm going to come to chain 2 because I didn't delete this. I'm going to copy the wallet address. I'm going to come to the node explorer. I'm going to paste in the burner wallet address, and I'm going to click on delegate, and then I'm going to sign the transaction on MetaMask. It could be that you might need a bit of it on a base network because everything here is going to be on the base network to cover for gas fees. So here everything is fine. I'm just going to click on confirm, and then it says delegation successful, key is delegated, and here I do have my delegated ID. So when you look here, you see that my node is still inactive because I haven't started the node yet. So in the next stage, what we're going to do is we're going to start the node. Now to start a node, we're going to use this command here, docker compose app -d. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to paste in this, and I'm going to press enter. Now what this should do is that it's going to start the node in a Docker container. Now if you want to make sure that your node is running, you can use this command here, docker.ps. This command basically tells you all the Docker containers that are currently running. So when I put this in, you see that I have 2 that are running. I have this one here, and I also have these ones here. Now what we're going to do now is to verify that the node is running. So when I come back to my node explorer, I'm going to scroll up, I'm going to refresh the page, and then when I scroll down, you see that my status has changed to active. So that means that my NFT has been connected to the node that we just set up. So it means that we were successful in setting up the node. Now in the next stage, I'm going to teach you a few things that you're also going to need to manage the node. Hey guys, if you do find value in the content that I'm producing, when all these nodes set up, you can see how much time goes into creating the Medium post and taking you through this tutorial. I'll be extremely happy if you sign up to my YouTube channel and also hit the like button to this video for me to also get some feedback that you are able to follow through in this tutorial. I'm just going to give you 3 seconds to do this now. Alright, if you did hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel, thanks for doing so. Now we're going to continue with it. So a few things that are also going to help you to be able to manage the node. Now the first thing I'm going to teach you is if you do want to shut down the node, if you do want to stop the node for any reason, please do not just delete the folders. Come here, use this command here, docker compose down, to disconnect the node. Now make sure that when you are running this command, you are always in the PlayAI node client folder. If you do, I do not want to stop my node, so I'm not going to do this. If you want to check the live status of your node, use this command here, docker compose logs -f. When you put this in the terminal and then just press enter, you're going to see live updates of your node that we currently set up. So you can see that everything looks green. The latest status, you can see the time here, so it means that everything is working very well. Now if you want to leave the logs, just press Ctrl+C and then you technically leave the logs. Now if there is any update to the node provided by the PlayAI team and you have to update your node, the PlayAI team also provided a very detailed guide on how you can do so. For instance, you use this command here, like I said, to stop the node, and then if you are in the PlayAI directory like I have here, you use this command here to pull the latest version of the node. So you're going to use these two commands here to pull the latest Docker images. You can delete the env file that we created, but my recommendation is going to be try not to delete it, or you can also just copy whatever contents that you have in the env file so that you can use this again without having to go through the chain tool and everything like that. So if you want to start a node, you're going to use the same command that we use here to start a node. If you want to stop the node, you're going to use this command here to stop the node. If you want to check the status of your Docker containers, you're going to use the docker ps command. So technically that's it about how to set up the PlayAI node on a VPS. If you do have any questions, you can put into the comment section, or you can also come to my Discord channel where we help the community out there on how to set up their nodes. Again, if you find this to be overwhelming, you can also delegate your node to NodeOps, and they're going to take care of everything that has to do with the technical hurdle for you. And here's where you can use my discount code DEPIN to secure a discount for the node operation. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and see you in the next one. Bye.